Patrick, can you hear me?
I can, Miles. I appreciate your patience there. Right, and Mayor Coiner, you do have a quorum as far as I've counted. So,
okay, let's see here. 1 second. Lost my packet on my screen. Okay. Okay. Got a packet, got a Zoom meeting. Okay, folks, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the December meeting of the Rappahannock-Rapidan Regional Commission. Due to the nature of the declared state of emergency due to COVID, it makes it impracticable or unsafe to assemble in a single location, and acknowledging that the purpose of the meeting is to discuss or transact business statutorily required or necessary to continue operations of the Commission. We're conducting this meeting electronically via Zoom with audio and video of the proceedings available on YouTube for interested parties during and after the meeting. Patrick, would you review the guidelines for conducting the commission meeting via electronic means?
yes, sir. As the chair mentioned, when there's a state of emergency in accordance with section 44-146.17 of the Code of Virginia, it may become necessary for the Rappahannock-Rapidan Regional Commission to meet by electronic means as outlined in section 2.2-3708.2 of the Code of Virginia as amended. In such cases, the following procedure shall be followed. The Regional Commission will give notice to the public using the best available method given the state of emergency. That was done through the website and emails to media and anyone that signed up for notifications. Regional Commission will make arrangements for the public access to such meeting. The meeting is streaming via YouTube, and a streamed and archived version will be available following the meeting for anyone interested in viewing the proceedings. And then finally, the Regional Commission will otherwise comply with the provisions of section 2.2-3708.2 of the Code of Virginia, which basically means that we'll include information that the meeting was held by electronic means in the official minutes of the meeting.
Thanks, Patrick. Will you go ahead and call the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Ashby, Mr. Butler, Mayor Catlin, I see him there.
Sorry, I had it muted. Here.
Mayor Coiner,
Here.
Mr. Crozier,
Here.
Mr. Curry,
Here.
Mr. Eggertson,
Here.
Mr. Hively, Mr. Hobbs,
Here.
Ms. Hoffman, Mayor Lamar, Mr. McCullough, I do see Paul there. He's just muted. All right. Mayor Roby, Ms. Schaefer,
Present.
Mayor Sisson, Ms. Smith,
Here.
Ms. Taylor,
Here.
Mr. Underwood, Mr. Voorhees,
Here.
Mr. Woods. And I saw Greg earlier, but I guess he's dropped off. You do have a quorum either way.
Thanks, Patrick. First thing we need to do with now that we've got a quorum is to approve the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda to distribute prior to the meeting? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Patrick. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. We have an agenda. Patrick, were there any comments from the public received ahead of the meeting for public comment?
There were no comments submitted as requested prior to the meeting.
And our guests are here for the presentation. Okay. We have today, next I'd like to welcome Mr. Miles Friedman and Ms. Jennifer Goldman to the meeting. Mr. Friedman and Ms. Goldman are providing a report on recently completed Regional Young Entrepreneurs Pilot Program, completed via Go Virginia grant, and also to speak about the possibility for expansion of the grant across the region. Thank you to each of you for being here, and we look forward to learning more about the program. Ms. Friedman, Ms. Goldman.
Well, thank you very much for having us. We're very excited about this program and continue to be enthusiastic about the possibility of expanding the program and continuing the work. Brief background on me. I think it says in the notes that for 7 years I was the Director of Economic Development in Fauquier County. I now continue to be a consultant on economic development to Fauquier County and other communities. And I'm thrilled to move to becoming an active part of the grant if it goes forward, and we think it will. Let me do just a brief overview, and then I'm going to ask Jennifer to speak, as she is the project manager for the project we're currently closing out, and will be the project manager if we're able with the commission to continue the work. You know, why young entrepreneurs is the question that comes up. And the answer is because in Fauquier County, we're doing quite a bit to support our entrepreneurs. We have 3 business incubators. We have all kinds of programs to help those entrepreneurs, and have been cited frequently by regional reports that were done for Go Virginia as being one of the most innovative counties in the state in terms of promoting entrepreneurship. The one gap that we found was filling the pipeline. Entrepreneurship has long been an underrepresented issue for state and local government, federal government, and now you're hearing more and more about the importance of entrepreneurship, especially given the COVID-19 situation, and I'll touch on that a little bit. So for us, the idea of filling that pipeline meant getting to people younger, getting to them in school, in high school, and maybe even eventually middle school. And there are a few programs around the country in that direction, but not many, and certainly very few in our region, although Culpeper has an excellent program run by a private organization. Charlottesville, of course, in Region 9 for Go Virginia is an innovator in this area, but there aren't enough young entrepreneurs programs, and certainly nothing that our young people could count on. In addition to being an important part of the economy, one of the things that impresses us about young entrepreneurship is the ability to direct students who may not be your classic, finish high school, go to 4 years of school, maybe get a master's degree, and then work a white collar job. Many of them are looking for alternative career pathways, and we also saw young entrepreneurship as an alternative career pathway, and one that might actually keep more of our bright young people in the communities where they grew up. So those are some of the reasons, and we set about with Go Virginia to look at the priorities of the program and the regional priorities in Region 9, and found that a program which could look at high school age students, and in fact, we looked at high schools in 2 different counties, Fauquier and Orange, and also a private school in the Wakefield School in Fauquier County. And we also, the goal was to create some trial pilots, and Jennifer's going to talk about the pilots more specifically, and also a resource book based on what we've learned from other programs and from our own pilots to make it easier for schools and other organizations interested in promoting young entrepreneurship to pick up on what we've learned. We feel very good about the results of the project. I know Jen's going to talk about that. But I mentioned COVID, and in the last few days, I've been working on an article that's going to be the cover story for the Business Voice magazine in January. And the people I've interviewed, including Terry Clower at George Mason, a couple of leading economic developers, have harped on the idea that promoting entrepreneurship may be one of the ways of us coming back from all the small businesses who are troubled, and many of them up to 20% or more going out of business, that entrepreneurship may be the key. So I think this is more important than ever. We would love to do this in partnership with the commission. It would really focus heavily on the 5 counties in the jurisdiction, And we certainly, happy to talk more about it. But Jen has trouble shutting me up when we start talking, so I'm actually going to stop. And Jen, please unmute yourself and talk about the project and the future.
All right, so it's my turn now. We'll put you on mute. We tease each other. We've worked together for a long time. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, see if I can do this successfully here. I created a little slideshow to give you guys a picture of what we did with some of the programs that we ran last year. And as Miles said, we had 3 pilots that we ran. And one was at Fauquier High School, one was at Orange County High School, and one was at Wakefield Private School in the Plains. So these are some of the activities you see. I just put a few pictures in there where we expose the teenagers to what it's like to run a business, what entrepreneurs go through, what inspires them, what it takes to actually start a business, how to keep it sustainable. And each one of those pilots had different goals and reasons for setting up. So they were tailored around each school system's own goals and what they wanted to strive and expose their students to. So they were all very, very different, which Miles will tell you, I was hoping for the cookie cutter, put 3 of the same pilots in 3 different schools just to see how they compared. But what we came up with was really something much more original and creative and tailored to each school system and what drove them. And so, they entailed going on field trips like you see here. This was one class that we took to Smith Midland. Some of the other snapshots you'll see are from the Fauquier Entrepreneurship Forum that the students created their own business event and interviewed entrepreneurs in a panel. This is from Deja Vu, went and visited a retail shop. So they all had various activities. And now what our goal is, as we did those 3 pilots, we learned a great deal. And I know Patrick shared with you all the resource guide file that we came up with. I'm not sure what the size of that file was. The book was about this thick when I was done with it. We had it published. And if you take a look at that, it shows you all the different activities and the outcomes from our pilots and what we believe we could take throughout the region and help teenagers, inspire them to create something new, to come up with the things that they wish were here in our areas, maybe that are missing, to create jobs and the economic development that we want to see in our area, starting from those younger generations. And we see this as a really good partnership opportunity to take it throughout the region through your organization. And going forward with our next grant, which is the implementation grant from Go Virginia. And we are partnering not only hopefully with your organization, but also with the Tom Tom Festival, who has some youth entrepreneurship programming that they're going to share with us to share with the region, as well as the E Squared entrepreneurship program that is in Culpeper right now. So Career Partners is also coming onto this project to help share the resources that they bring. So what we're hoping to do is to find new partners who are ready to implement their own youth entrepreneurship program. And they can select from all the different models we have. The 3 different pilots that we ran, an E Squared model, and TomTom has a model that we haven't fully acquired all the knowledge from it yet, but it has to do with crowdsourcing for entrepreneurship and launching through those dollars that they raise. So we have all these different models that we want to share, and we want to convene in a committee monthly to create that resource. And that's going to be part of this grant as well, as just a shared resource for youth entrepreneurship. I don't really have any more of a formal presentation, but I'm happy to answer any questions. Like Miles said, we're really excited about continuing the work we did. One of our goals, obviously, is to go back to those 3 pilot schools and ensure that they're sustainable, to make sure that they have everything they need to carry that forward and that they're still meeting the goals that they have.
One of our fervent hopes is that the pilot in the Wakefield school actually formed a business. And they were to open a cafe at the school.
There it is.
This year. Unfortunately, COVID kind of made that impossible. But we plan to go back and finish the job in those 3. We never did. Thanks to Jennifer, we never did let COVID destroy the programs. The pilots all continued using technology and creativity, and all 3 concluded successfully. Now it's time to institutionalize all of them, open the coffee shop at Wakefield, and then spread the word and set programs up in as many school systems and other organizations as possible. Again, starting with the 5 counties and the towns that are under the regional commission.
Thank you. Does anyone have any comments or questions?
If I might, Mayor Coiner, what I would say from staff's perspective, I've spent some time meeting with Jennifer and Miles, and I think initially it was, we sort of saw the commission as potentially just serving in a role that just to facilitate the continuation of the project, or at least through an application to Go Virginia. I do think there's a role for us to play in terms of project management and working with Jennifer and Miles should the project, go forward and be successful through Go Virginia. It's sort of a branching out into, economic development a little more formally than the commission has been, at least in the past, decade or so. We have, as you all know, we submitted an application for a SEDS grant back in the summer. We're still waiting to hear on that, but it's sort of part of that kind of direction in moving into economic development and with Go Virginia specifically. So that's really from my perspective, one of the reasons bringing in front of you today, just to get the commission's feedback there and kind of get the pleasure of the commission in terms of, where they want to go and if this seems like a good fit.
Great. Anyone else? Well, thank you, Miles and Jennifer. We appreciate you being here today. And it's good to hear about this. And I hope we can work together on this in the future.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us and for the interest in partnering with us. We think this could be a great project. It will be a great project.
Okay. Well, as a follow-up on this, we have requested action, which is a consideration of the Regional Commission serving as an applicant for a Go Virginia grant to continue the Regional Young Entrepreneurship Program. Someone like to make a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, comments? Let's have a roll call vote, please, Patrick.
Yes, sir. I will note that we've had two commissioners join since we did roll call, Ms. Hoffman and Mr. Hively. So I'll include them here as well. Mayor Catlin?
Yes.
Mayor Coiner?
Aye. Sorry.
Mr. Crozier?
Yes.
Mr. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. Eggertson?
Aye.
Mr. Hively?
Here.
Mr. Hobbs?
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman? Come back. Mr. McCullough?
Aye.
Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Voorhees?
Aye.
And Mr. Woods?
Aye.
All right. The ayes have it, Mr. Chair.
Great. Thank you for your support. Next, we have the approval of minutes. The minutes from the October 28th meeting are included in your packets. Are there any changes requested? And if not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
I so move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes as presented, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The minutes are approved. Thank you. Moving on, financial reports. Item 9A is the draft audit report completed by Dunham, Offcamp, and Rhodes. Traditionally, the commission receives the audit in October and takes action in December. Patrick, are there any specific comments you want to make regarding the fiscal year 2020 audit?
Just briefly, it was shared with the commission in October, and then again electronically in follow up to that meeting and prior to this meeting. Did not receive any comments from anyone specifically. Just making general statements. Commission remains on solid financial footing. There is, if you note from 2019 to 2020, there is a reduction in the commission's net position. but that's due almost exclusively to the decrease in our net pension asset through VRS. We've had a very low contribution rate for 2 years because the net pension asset was at a very high level in 2018. So that is the reason for the reduction in the overall net position. But I would note that the overall cash on hand position did increase from FY19 to FY20. So again, a clean audit, and again, thanks to Terry for her work with the auditors again this year.
Okay, thanks, Patrick. Okay, so we need to approve and adopt the fiscal year 2020 audit. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2020 audit?
I'll move that we adopt it.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Let's have a roll call vote again, Patrick, please. Thank you.
Mayor Catlin,
Aye.
Mayor Coiner,
Aye.
Mr. Crozier,
Aye.
Mr. Curry,
Aye.
Mr. Eggertson,
Aye.
Mr. Hively,
Aye.
Mr. Hobbs,
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman,
Ms. Hoffman indicates she doesn't have a microphone on her computer.
oh, okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. McCullough,
Aye.
Ms. Schaefer,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Taylor,
Aye.
Mr. Voorhees,
Aye.
and Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Thank you. Ayes have it.
Thank you, Patrick. Patrick, if anyone does want to comment and doesn't have mic on their computer, can they call in and have their computer seeing this? Can they call in on the phone?
You can do that. Yeah, there's a method to do that. Trying to think, if you're on your computer and you go to mute and there's a little button there, there's an audio settings, which would give you the phone audio information.
Okay. If anyone does want to address this and they don't have a mic, they can also call in. Okay, next is the fiscal year 2021 financial report through November. Patrick?
Nothing major to report here. You see in the memo and the financial spreadsheets through 42% of the fiscal year, we've received about 54% of our budgeted revenues, and expenses are at about 36%. We'll probably bring back, I think in February, one final budget amendment just because of additional funds received for the Rappahannock County, the CARES Act program, which will have been received and then expended by that point, just for the commission's, kind of final adoption of that fiscal year budget. I will note we continue to be in contact with our granting agencies, mostly at the state, but also at the federal level, in terms of any decreases or any changes in the way they see funding going. The primary one is at Department of Rail and Public Transportation, the Commuter Services Program, which the Commonwealth Transportation Board took action this morning to approve the complete fiscal year budget for 2021. So we had been operating on a quarterly appropriation for that program with limited expenses beyond basic operating costs. So we have a little more stability with that. So we feel pretty comfortable for the rest of this fiscal year and moving beyond. So I'm happy to answer any questions through November, but that's all I have for the year-to-date financials.
Thanks, Patrick. Would you please move on to the director's report, please?
Yes, sir. As you see in the director's report, and I do want to make one note, there was one late addition that I added just earlier this week. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see the document and the board packet there, just so I can make sure everybody has at least seen what I'm referring to. So a couple of items just to highlight. First, in October, the commission approved with the amended budget the restoration of a part-time regional planner. Jennifer Little was hired in November to take on that role. Jennifer previously served as an AmeriCorps Vista here at the office, working primarily with Foothills Housing Network, but she has a community development background, and we're excited to have her not only work on housing related issues, but also other planning projects that we have upcoming. We're in the middle of submitting local budget and dues requests. Fauquier County's was submitted in October, and then we're working through Orange County and Culpeper County before the end of the calendar year, and then the other counties and towns early on in 2021. Regional housing study, if you recall from October's meeting, Camoin 310, Amy Collins presented the draft regional housing study. We're still working through the revisions to that, but I am pleased to say that the requests that were made from the commission, the two that were made at the meeting, one being adding more town data into the housing demand analysis. We've been able to do that and parse some of that town data out. So that's a little more prominent in a couple of the documents. And then locality reports. So we're going to have for each, for the 5 counties and the 3 largest towns, at least by the consultant, we're going to have about an 8 to 10 page sort of locality summary that we can provide to any of you, as well as boards, councils, any staff members locally, just to give a high level overview of the findings for by locality. And I'll be ready to share those later this month. Let's see, environmental and natural resources. If you also recall from October, the commission did approve staff to serve as a lead applicant on a proposal to the USDA Regional Conservation Partnership Program. Unfortunately, there was budget issues with a couple of the prospective partners, primarily federal agency, as well as a couple of the state and soil and water conservation districts, mostly in terms of the 5-year grant period and just being unsure of the ability to provide what would have been a fairly hefty match. So the group is going to continue to meet, but this is actually 2 years in a row that we've kind of moved through this process and then got down late in the process and ended up not submitting an application. So I think Michelle Edwards and I in the commission office, we're interested in moving forward if it is something that does go forward again next year, but we're also going to be a little more aware of just the time that we're spending on it if it's not going to go forward again. But we think it's a good project. It's just, getting to the end and not submitting is disappointing. And then the 2 things I want to bring up, one is, which was included with your packet, was a draft scope of work for the 2021 contract with Department of Environmental Quality for Chesapeake Bay watershed planning. A couple of items that I just want to bring to your attention, primarily on the regional level, is we've got, excuse me, we're going to continue to work on the Upper Rappahannock watershed plan, which Michelle and Matthew Decatur in our office have been pulling together GIS information, again, with lots of stakeholders. And the goal there is to kind of get a prioritized method of identifying BMPs in the region and where they might have the most bang for their buck, working with partners such as the Soil and Water Conservation Districts, Friends of the Rappahannock, Piedmont Environmental Council, and local governments as well. Second item, and this was largely based on a request from DEQ, but we'll be providing assistance with the ongoing Mountain Run, Muddy Run, and Lower Hazel TMDL. That's primarily in Culpeper County, has a very small amount in Rappahannock County. And then meets the Rappahannock, so there are certainly impacts on the rest of the region in terms of the water quality there. We're going to be providing GIS assistance mapping for the plan, as well as just some outreach and participation with DEQ staff and the other stakeholders on that TMDL. And then continuing to work on the Healthy Watershed Forest Initiative, which, if you recall, initially was something that Orange County was looking at. I think Fauquier County has taken some interest and kind of moving forward with that. So our staff certainly has been participating in several meetings over the past several years, and just can offer that support or backing, information and support, background information as that process moves forward. That's also one where the Rappahannock River Basin Commission has been very active as well. There are some optional deliverables, so I would encourage any of you, or if you want to share with your staffs, share this information out. If there are local projects that would benefit from the commission identifying and making our staff available, then please don't hesitate to get in touch with either myself or Michelle to go through those. And then the item that was added late was just a summary that Rebecca Wareham put together for Foothills Housing Network, and this was largely based on COVID-19 funding that has kind of come into the region, mostly to address housing issues and not just homelessness, but also to have money for rapid rehousing or for eviction prevention. And this is just by way of information for you all to be aware of money that's been allocated. The commission really has only seen this $21,525 in terms of what has gone on to our budget. And that was for VHDA emergency funding, which allowed for some capacity building. Most of that was passed to a couple of service providers in the region, Community Touch and SAFE. The rest of the money, which is a large amount, certainly on emergency shelter operations and prevention and rapid rehousing, is going to service providers. But without the commission staff being available and able to coordinate some of that with the state and federal partners, as well as making those decisions locally with the Foothills Housing Network kind of governing board, a lot of that money would not have flowed into the region as much as it has. So I really just wanted to make you aware of the amount that's come in. And some of this, the CHIRP project is one that has actually got a little bit longer time period. It's going until September of 2022. So that's not all money that's been here already, but it is money that is going to address some of the housing issues that have been raised as part of the COVID-19 and the mandates and the direction from the state and federal government in terms of housing unsheltered individuals. So just wanted to make you aware of that. And that is available on this worksheet is available on our website, but I'll also send that out after the meeting just so you have a copy of it as well, since it was not included with the packet. And that's it for my director's report.
Thanks, Patrick. I always really enjoy reading it. It's very informative, and thank you for that. Moving on to staff updates. There are no staff updates or old business on today's agenda. So in new business, Patrick, will you review item 12A, please?
Yes, sir. So the first item under new business is application from the Regional Commission to the Department of Rail and Public Transportation for the FY 2022 FTA Section 5310 Grant Program for Mobility Management. And if you recall from October and past discussions, we've talked about the Foothills Area Mobility System, the FAMS program, that has been a good funding source for the Commission and for our partners at the Community Services Board for the FAMS One Call Center for almost a decade. We have seen that funding kind of decrease a little bit from where it kind of hit its peak in the mid part of last decade in 2016 or so. But we're at a point now where we feel like it's pretty stable, and they've become, DRPT has been pretty clear about what they're able to fund with it. So we feel pretty confident. But this is a grant application that would allow the half-time position here for regional mobility management, and then 1.5 full-time equivalents at the FAMS call center, as well as a little bit of money just for direct technology and supply costs. There's a 4% match on the grant, but that's one that we make up from the Commission out of your local per capita dues. There's not a supplemental request for that. So given the grant deadline, which is February 1st, that's why the request is coming to you now in December. So happy to answer any questions on this or to try to clarify anything if there are questions.
Okay. Seems like the only things left is to adopt the resolution requested. The requested action is adoption of a resolution for RRRC staff to submit a fiscal year 2022 Section 5310 grant application and authorize executive director to execute agreements upon award of the grant. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Are there any comments or questions? Roll call vote, please.
Yes, sir. Mayor Catlin?
Aye.
Mayor Coiner?
Aye.
Mr. Crozier?
Aye.
Mr. Curry?
Aye.
Mr. Eggertson?
Aye.
Mr. Hively?
Aye.
Mr. Hobbs?
Aye.
Mr. McCullough?
Aye.
Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Voorhees?
Aye.
And Mr. Woods?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you.
Ms.
Wonderful.
Hoffman says aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just say I've got a 20-year habit of about going last on all roll call votes. And so each time you call me second, enough like, Lord, I've been caught off guard drinking out of my soda here because I'm ready to say aye second on the list. But I think I've picked up on it now. So next time I'll be ready. Okay, the next item, there's a request for a grant application for the Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan update. As you may be aware, the Hazard Mitigation Plan was most recently updated in 2018 and must be reviewed and updated every 5 years. The proposed application of FEMA will request funding for Rappahannock-Rapidan Regional Commission staff to work with participating locality staff and stakeholders. Patrick, are there any other comments or do any commissioners have any questions for staff? First, Patrick.
My only comment is I apologize because this has been a bit of a back and forth on this one. We've talked about it a couple of times, not so much as a formal agenda item, but certainly as updates. We were initially intending to apply for the hazard mitigation plan update, but back in September, early October, VDEM staff indicated that they had a backlog of planning grants that probably would make ours not successful if we had chose to apply. So staff did not put time towards developing the application. And then just before Thanksgiving, we were notified that there was money available. And so if we could pull together our application by this Friday, then that would be a good idea. So that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're getting this request for. I will note that the county administrators and town managers have received a request just for a local letter of intent to participate. And I appreciate their attention to that. Several have already returned, and I'll be communicating with any that haven't early in January. But yeah, we've got a deadline of Friday, and this is sort of a mandated update for this plan, but most of the work will not begin until 2022. So it's just sort of the background effort here to get the funding.
Okay. I didn't make my note on if the motion's been made. Was that an introductory explanation or was that comments after the motion?
That was just my introductory explanation, sir.
Oh, it's okay. Would someone like to make a motion to authorize the executive director to submit grant application to VDEM for hazard mitigation plan update?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on this item? And let's have a roll call vote, please, Patrick.
Yes, sir. Mayor Catlin,
Aye.
Mayor Coiner,
Aye.
Mr. Crozier,
Aye.
Mr. Curry,
Aye.
Mr. Eggertson,
Aye.
Mr. Hively,
Aye.
Mr. Hobbs,
Aye.
and I'll call on Ms. Hoffman and maybe we'll wait for you to get her vote, Mr. Hobbs.
Not yet.
All right. Mr. McCullough,
Aye.
Ms. Schaefer,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Taylor,
Aye.
Mr. Voorhees,
Aye.
and Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Next is the regional legislative platform developed by Mr. Eldon James ahead of the 2021 General Assembly session. The commission has offered its endorsement of the platform in past years and may do so again this year, and may also offer any suggestions for edits or additional items. Are there any comments or desire to endorse the legislative platform at this time? Rolling it out there.
If I might, Mr. Chair, one item that I would just bring to the attention of the commission is that in the past, what you've seen is a kind of a North Central Virginia or Northern Piedmont regional legislative platform, which has been developed for not only our region, but also the Fredericksburg area. It's been separated out this year because the George Washington Regional Commission has asked to, they're looking at their agreement with Eldon James and also looking at their just how they want to run that program moving forward. So there has been some discussion about what that means for this region. This has mostly been a that up where localities in this region have contributed a little bit to the George Washington Regional Commission's contract. And so there'll be some discussion at that point of, whether we continue with them or whether there's a separate agreement over here, just to bring that to your attention.
Okay. Usually on these things, I'm almost always in majority agreement because we're more similar than we're different. But it's never 100% my focus or my priorities. And so I always hesitate a little bit. I guess it has to be really something that I think would harm important things before it would give me too much pause. If it's generally something that's all good stuff and some things that aren't high on my list but aren't harmful, then I'll endorse it. But anyway, it's always problematic. It's a lot of generic kind of vanilla stuff, or at least so broad-based that everyone kind of agrees. Anytime they pick an issue that's a little thorny or a little questionable or whatever, it always gets more problematic to endorse. But anyone else have any comments on the legislative platform? Patrick, what have I've been through all of these for 20 years, but have we actually endorsed in the past? Have we actually moved to endorse or just discussed it?
No, it sort of varies from year to year, but I will say last year, and I want to say the last 2 years, there's been an endorsement just for, and I think really the main thing is for some of the items that are particularly supported locally. I know that most of the counties and several of the towns also have their own, items, and many of you also work through VACO or VML as well. So it's sort of, I think, pulling a lot of those items that are common and bringing them together. But the commission has endorsed, I won't say every year, but certainly in past years, there has been endorsement at times.
Okay. I like to know the history because I can tell you that Gordonsville has endorsed VML's legislative years. And certainly we're not in 100% agreement. It's not so much that we're on the other side of any of it. It's more, I guess, our focus and our priorities can differ, but never so much that we can't support. So I don't know if anyone, if this holds to that level where it gives support to most things that we support and there's nothing harmful in it, and anyone wants to give added weight to this by putting the two regional commissions together for the items and make a motion to endorse with the background that, as Patrick says, we've often or regularly endorsed, and we have the last couple of years at least. With that background, is there any interest to endorse the regional legislative platform?
Well, I would move to endorse it.
Thanks, Ted. Second?
At least for the sake of discussion.
There you go.
Second.
Thanks, Paul. Okay. I'll tell you what, the only thing I would like, and I have no problem whichever way you guys want to go. I'm always looking to the region and leadership. I don't believe in strong leadership at this level. I believe more in collaboration and reflecting the region. So I'm looking to you guys. But if there's items in there that gives people pause, what I would appreciate would be people bringing up those items that give them pause for support, if there is such an item. Because then I'd like to maybe pass it along that those items kept us from passing it, if it did. And if there's nothing that actually is, would keep you from voting, then let's go ahead and pass it. But if there are things and you're not ready to support it, I wish you would point those out so we can pass it down the line and let people know that that item is keeping us from endorsing it. So any problems people have with it? I don't think it's controversial. I think what they did was they're emphasizing the obvious, smart, regional issues because obviously they're looking to get their initial support from George Washington. I don't know that they're tailoring it for us. but they are strong, common sense regional issues, and I don't think they're divisive or certainly not partisan. And so I think it's easier to support because it is because of the nature of the legislative agenda. So I will vote to support. But if anyone has any issues, I wish they would bring up what those issues are. Any comments? Other comments? Then we don't need a roll call vote. Well, depends. If it's split, we may need a roll call vote. So I'll just say, let's go ahead and get a roll call vote on that, Patrick.
Yes, sir. Mayor Catlin,
Approve.
Mayor Coiner,
Aye.
Mr. Crozier,
Aye.
Mr. Curry,
Aye.
Mr. Eggertson,
Aye.
Mr. Hively,
Aye.
Mr. Hobbs.
Aye.
I do believe Ms. Hoffman dropped off, but if you hear from her, then I'll certainly take her vote from you. Mr. McCullough,
Aye.
Ms. Schaefer,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Taylor,
Aye.
Mr. Voorhees,
Aye.
Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Thank you. Ayes have it.
Thanks, Patrick. Okay, moving right along here. Turn the pages. Finally, the commission needs.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
I appreciated your statement at the beginning on this particular item. I would just maybe build on that a little bit, and I don't know whether it's in order or not to ask the question if we're going to sort of plan for approaching a regional commission legislative agenda next year. I think I understand we're kind of going with what we have this year, but the George Washington Commission is going out for proposal or whatever. And so I just want to kind of put it out there as far as I understand, and my board, we've had a little bit of communication about it. Having a regional approach makes the most sense to us, and we're part of this region, and we just want to put a marker out there that hopefully we can plan to do this, next General Assembly. And so I just want to kind of put that on the table.
And I really appreciate that because here I've kind of felt that we're generally in lockstep, but certainly George Washington, which includes Stafford and going up 95 toward DC, and Central Virginia, where we are not quite in lockstep as far as their focus. Now, certainly no matter where you are in Virginia, we've got transportation and we've got a lot of the same issues that we want to focus. But I think it would be nice for the different counties and cities or towns to maybe put forth items that are important to them, and us develop one that's a little more tailored maybe to our region. And I think it would be even more effective. And we can do it looking. It depends on our relationship with George Washington at that point going forward. I don't know what it'll be, but it might even be using their base and things and adding some things of ours, but making something a little more tailored to us. Very good point. We'll talk about that next year, developing something. I think that'd be great. Okay. Finally, the commission needs to appoint a nominating committee to identify a slate of officers for terms beginning March the 1st of 2021. Traditionally, the executive committee serves in this role, although the committee can be expanded should any commissioners wish to participate. Are there any commissioners who desire to serve on the nominating committee, or what might be the pleasure of the commission?
I would move the executive board follow the tradition.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Paul. Okay. The whole time I've been on there, the executive committee has done it, but we never want to. I can tell you that what we do when we do that is we try and include all the counties, and we take into consideration everything for it to be broad-based. And I can say in advance that I think I started on the executive committee about 2008. And so after about 13 years, I don't look to be on there again because we try and include each county unless we're forced to have two from the same county. Like Greg and I are on there currently because we needed a treasurer, and I'm the chairman. So we are. But once I'm not on there and Orange County is represented, I won't be needed any longer. So I won't be recommending me to be on the executive committee for the first time in 13 years because I won't be an officer. And we've got somebody from Orange County already on there. But that's the way it goes. It doesn't really get into strong personalities. It gets into broad-based representation by all the counties in the region. And since we may get together more often or longer or other things, it's a little more of a commitment. So, of course, we are looking for folks that want to participate to any extent that's necessary. And that can also be a criteria. But anyway, okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Would anybody else have any discussion of that? If there are no other comments, then I think we can do this with a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed, say nay. I suppose we have a nominating committee. Okay. This next item, the regional roundtable, will be as it normally is. But first, I wanted to talk about something I brought up. I asked to discuss revisiting the Living Towns Planning Workshop Series that previously ran from 2002 to 2013. For those of you unfamiliar, the Living Towns series was a one-day workshop held in towns and villages in the region that brought community leaders, planners, economic developers, tourism coordinators, and other stakeholders for a series of speakers on topics of local and regional interest. In addition, it offered an opportunity for town councils or county boards to work with the commissioners and staff to develop the agendas and host participants from within and outside the region and their community. As we start to look forward to such meetings again in the future, I'd ask any interested community to reach out to me or Patrick to indicate your interest as you're able. I would just like to say that when we stopped doing it in 13, golly, we really did think it was only going to be for a couple of years to catch our breath. Because I can tell you nothing that we've done has been as enjoyable to me. And I really love the annual meeting, but this is an all-day planning event, so it's a wealth of planning knowledge. You know, we'll get experts from the state of Virginia and all over the state, and I forgot people from outside the state or not, but it's a wonderful day. And some of you guys that might not have been on the commission then, but participated those in your roles as planners or town council members or whatever. So you may be familiar with it. But, you know, we get together every other month, and this year we don't even do that. And it can get to be a very loose bonded organization, which I don't like. I like any organization that I'm in to be strong bonded, strong collaboration, strong fellowship. I think that helps cement the commitment to our work, to each other, to our counties, to our region. I think this Living Towns Day is just awesome. Because not only is it all good planning, good bonding for the organization and a list of things, but the town that you may never go to that's way away and off of I-66 and 64 and 95 that you don't drive through normally and may not go off the normal path to visit, you may fall in love with. So I love that our whole region can show off their little town or village, or we don't have any cities, but counties. And they really do love hosting and having everybody. When I say everybody, it's just not the other 14 or 15 commissioners or something, but 70, 80, or 100 county boards and town councils and planning commissions, all the planning commissions in our localities, and just local citizens that are interested. It's a wonderful way to draw attention to a Rappahannock-Rapidan Regional Commission, the town that sponsors it. And I really can't believe we've gone since 13 without doing it, because I remember all, whatever it is, 11 or 12 of them distinctly. And there were wonderful events. And I understood catching breath. And I don't think I argued against stepping back for a year or two. But I'd have been shocked at the time if I thought we'd go 7 years. Because in those 7 years, I'd say the board has turned over a majority of the board probably twice. I know once we had a big turnover when I was about, I felt like I was the only one I recognized on the board at one time. So since that time, we've had a couple of turnovers. And certainly with the turnovers, we need to have this Living Town stay because we all kind of need to get to know each other a little better. Plus, it's just a good planning workshop. So enough said. But I guess I wanted to oversell it because in case anybody wasn't excited, they should be. So we're not going to vote or take any action on it or even need a lot of discussion right now. Certainly anyone who wants to say something can. But what we're really trying to do is pique your interest as a town, county, or village or whatever, and calling up Patrick and saying, hey, I'd love to host one. I'd love to host the first one that and if you don't speak right up, you might be number 7 on the list, and you might have to wait 7 years till you're not there anymore for your locality to host it, because once people start grabbing slots, they actually do get taken up. So if you want your town to be a host, and you better jump on it quick, because once people start grabbing slots, it will fill up because it's a great day. That's more than enough said, but we only get together every other month. So that's my spiel. Patrick, would you like to argue with me or support what I said?
No. I mean, I think you kind of sold it well. And for those of you that didn't participate, I'll forward out a link just on our website. We still have all of the old documents from the other living towns that were hosted, and we had all of the towns in the region. I take that back. We did not do one in the town of Washington, but we did one in Sperryville. We've done Mayor Catlin. We've done one in a couple of the villages, Marshall and Sperryville. So I'll send that information out just so if you're not aware, if this is totally new information, you can at least see what the kind of agenda looked like and just sort of the process. So, but if it is something, once we're able to have in-person meetings again, if it's something the commission wants to move forward with, then staff can certainly pursue that. So.
Sounds like Mayor Coiner that since Washington has been omitted in the past, we may have to be up close to the top on that list.
I agree, Fred. I was in Washington a couple of weeks ago. I love it. And drove over there. I've got clients over there, actually. Went to deliver some papers and visit your fine shops and things. From an economic development standpoint, it's huge. I mean, if we do have like 100 people there, you're not talking 100 random people. You're talking 100 people that are committed to the region, that are committed to their fellow cities and towns in the region. So you're going to get close to everyone who participates. You'll find your local merchants will want to tease us with their business cards and a little sample product or something in a basket or something or a little bag, because I have found that the participants respond strongly to getting around while they're there before they go home to the little shops and things. So it's a wonderful economic thing too, because you've got folks that will, stop by and see the folks. But there are also people that are not wallflowers that go home and shut their doors. All of us are people that talk to people throughout our communities. So if Washington puts on a show and we have a blast in Washington, not only are we all going to go there if they host it that day, but we are all the type of people that tell everybody we know, I know you know it, but you've got to slip over to Washington. They've got a lot of new stuff, and that's a wonderful day trip. And those conversations will be hundreds of those all over the region. And so it's a strong economic development day, potential for the next 6 months afterwards. I'll say that too. So we have found that. Okay. The next item after the regional roundtable is just adjustments. So I'll go ahead and start the roundtable. I always don't know how to do this on Zoom as far as.
You want me to prompt people?
Yeah, Patrick, call on people. Yeah, if you will.
Okay. Thank you. I like to go north to south since you're the furthest south. So Ms. Schaefer, Town of Warrenton.
Hi, everyone. Good to see all of you. I'm sorry we could not host this month, but I think it was a good call to see you all on Zoom. There's not a lot to report in the town of Warrenton. We had our council meeting last night. It was a pretty light agenda, and just getting geared up for the budget season. We are officially put the ink to our Warm Up Warrenton program, which is what we're calling it. It is a $200,000 grant program that will be pushed out to small businesses to help through the winter months as it relates to COVID response and the continued pandemic. Other than that, we have started to do some expansions at our aquatics facility, bringing back some of our small group fitness, just 5 at a time, and looking at what we can do there. So just continuing to kind of ease into things and stay steady. We have been focusing on continued telework and having some people in the office, kind of like in Patrick's report, being flexible as we're going through the holiday season. But all in all, things are pretty steady right here and nothing overly exciting to report.
All right, Mr. McCullough.
We are in the process of beginning our budget process. Fauquier County does essentially a 2-year budget, and we're entering into the 2nd year. And so I anticipate not a heck of a lot of change to what the board had planned for the 2nd year, but I'm going to be having some discussions with the school board, obviously, on that and what they're looking at. We are also cautiously optimistic regarding the budget and the revenue projections. The first this year has been fairly good, all things being considered, but we're not quite sure, given the governor's most recent indication that with Virginia at a 10.9% positivity rate, he is considering additional ratcheting back of some things to hopefully put us on a better course COVID-wise. Beyond that, things just keep rolling right along. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Holidays to you all.
You too, Paul.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Ms. Smith, Rappahannock County.
Thank you, Patrick. I know it's a little bit challenging because I am on a phone connection rather than joining you in the room, but I did have 2 quick and exciting reports. One, at Monday night's Board of Supervisors meeting, we did adopt our new comprehensive plan, and we also in that same meeting adopted a resolution that founds our broadband authority for the county. So very eventful evening and lots of good news to report. Thank you for the opportunity to participate today. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Mr. Curry, anything to add?
Just real quickly, want to again thank our partners in Fauquier and Culpeper, and let everybody know that the rollout of the radio system is behind us now, and we're actually using it, and it's functioning pretty well. So thank you to our partners to bring us along on that endeavor. And also, I mentioned in the past we were struggling through some waste management issues, and those largely seem to be in our past. Our new relationship with Page County is working well.
All right, Mayor Catlin, down in Washington. And you're muted, so.
Thank you for reminding me about that, Patrick. We have two items. Our never-ending drama with the post office seems to have come to a positive resolution. We do have work that has been started on that for about the last month and a half. They're still trying to clear away dirt and put in dirt and do all that stuff. So we're looking at sometime the late spring probably before we get a building up. But it's been a long, arduous, and silly process that we've had to go through. The other thing that's a little bit more exciting is that next to the post office, there has been some buzz in the community about a mixed use project that will be partially in the county and partially in the town. That is very exciting. We have a benefactor who is doing it, providing some very low cost offers to the county and community food pantry to be in there to provide space for a community center, provide space for nonprofits in the community, also some senior citizen housing. So there will be the first presentation on it at this Monday night's town council meeting about it. We're all very excited about this opportunity. And I wish you all the best for the holidays.
Thanks for
All right. Let's see, Mr. Eggerson, Culpeper County.
Hello, everybody. Not too terribly much to report. We're looking to finish spending our CARES money. We're still working hard on our broadband efforts, and we are just starting to undertake a franchise agreement renewal process with Comcast, which is expected to last as much as 2 years. Their current agreement doesn't expire till 2023, but if any of you have been through that process before and have any words of wisdom, call me separately sometime and give me some insights. That promises to be interesting. Other than that, all is well, and I wish you all happy holidays.
Right. Looks like we've lost Ms. Taylor, but Mr. Hively, Town of Culpeper.
Sure. Hello, everybody. As John said, we just finalized the round 3 of our Culpeper Cares Small Business Grant Program. That was a program that the town and county participated in. We will be kicking out a new program called Culpeper Recovers, Small Women and Minority Business Grant Program after the first of the year. There's about $800,000 in that program. And the nice thing about that is it doesn't have to be spent until July. So that'll hopefully bridge at least some of the gap after the first of the year. And we're also initiating a Culpeper Competes community business launch program, and that'll be running through April. And it's geared toward providing education, mentoring, and ultimately awarding up to 3 grants for $45,000 for new business starts in downtown Culpeper. So, and then following up after that, then continuing with monitoring and mentoring and in-kind support with them. So we're hoping that that'll help spur things as we get past the COVID. We were just awarded, and I'm sure some of y'all probably were as well, the COVID-19 Municipal Utility Relief Program assistance to assist customers. The good thing is that's another $68,000. Bad thing for us, and I'm sure anybody else that got that, is you have to get all of the customers that have qualified for that, they have to apply before the end of the year. So that's only about 20 days to get 300 or 400 people to apply. I did just see an email from VML that may have been extended to January 15th. So I need to do some more research on that. But if any of you all fall into that same category, there may be another couple of weeks of time to try to get those customers just to submit those applications. We're also building a playground in Rockwater Park. We partnered with Culpeper Wellness Foundation, and they're going to cover about half of the cost of that playground. And we're also doing a new entrance and parking area associated with that, because once the governor finally allows us to open our splash park, we think we're going to need additional parking in that area. And then we're also working on, this is a pretty exciting project to me, but we're working on a pedestrian crossing at the depot of Norfolk Southern. And that's so we can provide additional parking in the downtown and alleviate a long-term project that we had, which was a parking deck. So trying to trade surface parking for a parking deck, and that could potentially save the town $15 million or so over the next 5 to 7 years. So we're hoping all of that's going to work out well, but anytime when you work with Norfolk Southern, that can be challenging. That's probably a good place to start. A lot of other projects, busy time right now in Culpeper, but I think all things considering, things are going pretty well.
All right, Mr. Hobbs, Madison County.
Thank you, Patrick. Hello, everybody. Well, as you might expect here in Madison, we just started our budget process and are looking for high times on that this spring with what we're paying for all these projects I'll mention in a second. But our primary school project renovations coming along well. The board approved the contract for the county administration complex renovation yesterday. That's a project that they tell me has been in planning here for about 45 years. So that'll be a good thing. We're still nailing down sites for our public safety radio system and are looking forward to having that. And we finally inked contracts for our financial software replacement. So we've got a lot of money going out the door and a lot of work ahead for the next couple of years. So our work program is all but set.
All right, let's see, Mr. Woods, Town of Orange.
Hey, Patrick, I would just mention a few things. Our North Street, I can't remember what I've said to people so far, but North Street is now open. There's still some work to be done, particularly taking out the speed bumps that are horrendous in that area. But our cell tower from Verizon is now with TowerCom. It's under construction. Hopefully that will be finished construction, I think, in January. I'm not sure how soon it will be active, but the construction should be done by January. We continue work on a Dunkin' Donuts in the Main Street. And regarding our CARES Act funding, we went through our last round last night. We've awarded over 65 awards, averaging about $12,800 to small businesses. A total of $832,000 of our funding went to that. One other thing I'd like to mention is there is a lady, Laurel Finley, and I thank you all, Patrick, for working with Chief Fenwick. She is with a fellowship through ICMA, VLGMA, and she's currently in active duty in San Diego with the United States Navy, but she'll be coming out of that around mid-December, and she'll be working with the town. She wants to create a career in emergency management, and Patrick has agreed for some of the activities that she'll be visiting with them and on this hazard mitigation, I believe. Other than that, I would just say happy holidays.
All right, thanks, Greg. Yeah, no, I connected her also with the Virginia Department of Emergency Management, so I hope that will be beneficial as well. But it sounds like Chief Fenwick has a lot in store for her as well for a couple months there. So,
yeah.
Mr. Crozier, Orange County.
Yes. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone, and I will defer to Mr. Voorhees.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll give you a quick rundown first. Hey, John, I've worked on 4 cable franchises in my career and one electric franchise. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So the only advice I have for you is 30 years ago, they actually, I guess, were worth doing. And you could get stuff. Now they're a complete waste of time. So I wouldn't worry about it much, whether it gets done or not. Third round of Bounce Back Orange grants are going to be advertised, and we'll be accepting applications in January. I'm still working with CIC on that, and that's for any business, whether they're in the town of Orange or town of Gordonsville, anywhere in the county. I think the 2 towns and us, we've really just tried to push a lot of opportunity out to our small businesses. So, hey, things aren't quite over yet. So I'm glad we were able to funnel some of our money through our public safety salaries and then get it back. So it's been removed from that December 30th time restriction. We can only hope Congress finally gets off their rear end and gives us something else for the, to get us through till the summer, but we'll do what we got to do. We also have a passport program. It's one of those things where you go around to small businesses and you get a passport punched or signed on, and then when you get 10 of them or something like that, then you get into a drawing to get some gift cards. So it's a little holiday shopping tour program. I'm sure we stole that from somebody like Culpeper. It was a good idea, so we're doing it here. Capital projects, got a bunch of them going on. We're starting to do an expansion of our landfill. So we got a cell that we're going to build. We are selecting an architect to design our adaptive reuse project at what we call the Bluebell building for a CTE facility for the schools. Our public safety radio project was delayed due to some historic resources review issues, but those are underway. Hopefully we'll get that final tower site up in the spring, and then the rest of it's pretty much done. So we'll be able to join the 21st century like some of the rest of you who just turned theirs live, and that'll be great for Orange, Gordonsville, and the county. Our public safety building is supposed to be open already. We'll have a ribbon cutting sometime in the summer. Jim's laughing. This will be our first year of using a dedicated fire and rescue tax. So it's a separate part of our tax bill that's only going to fire and rescue. So this will be our first year operating in it. So when we start building the budget for next year, it'll be interesting to see kind of how that works. And I know that the volunteer agencies are looking forward to working with us to, I guess, right size the amount of county contribution for vehicle replacement and for support of their operations. So that'll be a nice, interesting opportunity. We're really excited about our broadband authority work. We did get an extra CARES Act, accessibility grant, whatever, a couple million to put up some hotspots, and a bunch of those have gone live, and people are finding the service to be really, really, really fast. So we said the best is yet to come when we actually hook it up to houses. And so that's all going to start happening in 21 under our operating entity brand name FiberLink. So if you see ads for FiberLink, then that's Orange County. We're not trying to steal your residents, but we think they're going to move here when they see the blazing fast internet that we're going to be providing. So one other thing, regional cigarette tax. I know there's some conversations going regionally about, do we join in together? Do we do something with Charlottesville, Albemarle? Do you join the Northern Virginia Regional Cigarette Tax Group, whatever? I'm just putting it out there. We're certainly open to any kind of regional deal, because I think that's just an easier way to make it work. I think the towns mostly already have this kind of handled, and my understanding is it's not that difficult to administer. But for counties, we don't have this in place. So I like the kinds of things where you can sign on an MOU and share a small administrative fee, and then just collect a check. That's the most streamlined kind of government that I can think of. So we'll see how that goes. And for now, that's what I got in Orange.
All right, Mr. Chair, back to you. Town of Gordonsville. Mayor Coiner, can you hear us?
I can now. My screen's been freezing regularly, at least 12 to 15 times during this meeting. And I knew after Ted stopped talking and I was bound to be next, it would freeze in that moment, and it did. But anyway, I don't have a lot. I would just say that, dealing with this pandemic, you deal with it in a practical and a safe manner, but you also deal with it in an inspirational manner. And I know a lot of people have reached out to me individually, and I've tried to help people, and I do it collectively as mayor. And I can say that although some people said we should have canceled our Veterans Day parade and our Christmas tree lighting, if you know me, I'm a mask wearer and a believer in following all the safety things. To me, the science is wearing the mask. I don't want to get into I never thought it was political. I don't know how it became political. I really don't. I just want to keep people safe. But the science to me is distance and mask and other things. I don't understand the science behind closing businesses. I never saw the laboratory that put that report out. You know, somebody might have that opinion, but I didn't see the science behind it. So I've always been against closing things, always from day one. It's been so silly to me that, you know, I go into Lowe's or Walmart and there's 200 people in there, and my little retail places are basically closed down in Gordonsville. It's beyond hypocritical and it's silly. But anywhere that people aren't being safe, I understand, because we've got to deal with this pandemic. Anyway, so that's my feeling from a standpoint of not shutting down the parade or the Christmas tree lighting. We did keep distance. We did require that everybody wear masks. As far as the parade, it was outside, and it was requested, and I would say 90-some% of the people were wearing masks. And the ones who weren't seemed to be in the same household. You know, it was the group that came together that wouldn't be wearing it, and no one was around them. And so I felt like both events were safe. And as I went down the street in the parade, it must have been 30 to 40 people, almost constantly, people saying, thanks for not canceling the Veterans Day parade. We've got to have something. They said, I know we have to be safe, but we've got to have something left in this country. And that's kind of the way I felt, although they hadn't heard me say it, because we don't have any meetings where people can come. We've got the virtual meetings where most people don't come. So, you know, the vaccine can't come quick enough. I just feel like all the bonds that bind us are getting a little precarious. I think people's temperament is getting precarious, and it bothers me. But hopefully all that will work out, and very soon things will get more back to normal. And of course, we'll behave until then to keep everybody safe. But anyway, I had pressure to nix the Veterans Day parade and the Christmas tree lighting, and we did not do that. So anyway, if that's everyone, I don't really have anything else in Gordonsville I want to report, but I do really want to wish everybody as normal and as wonderful and as memorable a Christmas and holiday season as anyone's ever had, because everybody needs it now. And I look forward to seeing all you folks back in February. Paul, goodbye, but would someone make a motion to adjourn?
So move.
So second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 I think we're adjourned. Thank you, folks. Merry Christmas.
You too.
Merry Christmas.